Good afternoon. In this brief tutorial, we will show you how to access students' usernames and passwords in PowerSchool, and also how to generate a very quick report using a PDF in the reports queue. The first thing you want to do is gain access to PowerSchool. Please note that my screen will look different than yours. I've got some different administrative rights, and hopefully you will have access to all of these. If you do not, please put in a Zendesk ticket and request the specific needs for PowerSchool so we can grant you that access. This training is designed primarily for front office admin techs, assistant principals, and principals. I will typically open up PowerSchool through one login. Clicking here will automatically get me into the system. For this point today, we'll use Greenbrier, and essentially what we need to do is find a student. So I'm going to use a student that I know goes to Greenbrier. And when they show up on this screen, I usually go to custom screens on the left-hand side. And then I also go to agreements. Again, that's custom screens and agreements. And on that page, you will see that we have the student lunch ID, we have the Google username, and the student's password. These are important to have. Now, if you wanted a printout, one of the things you can do from your PowerSchool homepage here is you can go into our system reports page. And again, under system reports, you will have a slightly different looking screen than what I'm showing. When I was in the administration in the building, I would typically scroll down to the bottom, and towards the bottom there was um, a list here for class rosters PDF. It's under student staff listings. And if you click under class rosters PDF, you have access to generate reports for various teachers' classrooms. So in this instance, I'm just going to pick one teacher that I know who has a class. If I hold the control key down, I can select multiple teachers at the same time. And so from there, I typically just check homeroom. It shouldn't matter too much for elementary, but if you have an upper elementary or middle school or high school section, you can go by specific um, course sections. So we'll do homeroom for this example. I typically leave all of these alone, and for my heading text, I just copy and paste the teacher name, and the teacher name shows up at the top of the screen. You can go to the fields button and you can search through lots of these um, sections and things. Sometimes people like to add number of students. Again, if you're not sure of if a code or field exists, just email us or put in a Zendesk ticket. Now, for the roster columns, again, you're taken to a blue link for fields, and I've generated these ahead of time. It's important to know what they're called. So first underscore name and last underscore name is pretty self-explanatory. The acceptable use policy Google username is listed as such, and how I found these was I went to fields and I typed in Google, and it highlighted the field that I needed, AUP Google username. I also did the same thing for password and went ahead and chose the right password. You may have to explore to get exactly what you need, but once you have this, you can make a note. You can save this in a document or just use this video to reference. So now I've got a sheet that's going to have the teacher's name and the number of students in the class, and the students printed out will be first name, last name, Google username, and student password. When I go ahead and submit that, it will push it to the queue, and in the queue it will run, and you can get into the habit of clicking this. And if you have other things to do, you can certainly come back. Up top here with our new web-based version, you'll see the report queue changed with a checkbox, which means you've got a report ready. At least I think that's what it means. And when you click on this view of this particular report, you will see that it does have the teacher's name, the number of students, the username and password, and that's sometimes a good reference sheet for teachers as they're transitioning, especially at the beginning of the year or when you've got students back with you at this time. So that is the general overview for PowerSchool. Keep in mind also you can do the same exact report if you wanted to do, say, lunch numbers. You can get their lunch ID code, and I can show that in another tutorial. But once you have the process of going to system reports, you can generate these PDFs in this class roster under student and staff listings. You can choose multiple teachers. The limitations of this report is that it will only print out in a PDF format, but the benefits are is that it's simple, it's easy to print out, and you can have something in your hand and ready as a resource. Um, Thank you so much for listening. If you have a need for additional trainings, please put it in as a ticket, and we will be happy to create a video and add it to our listings for you.